not sit down.
There you go. All right.
I mean, Melissa, do you want me to sit back in my lazy boy and just you can look at my beautiful, ugly, pink face, or?
I was just concerned. It's 2 hours, but go for it.
It's probably gonna be 3.5 with Howard.
He's a grown ass man. I think he's figured it out.
You know what? I just got some stuff to do in the snake room, so I really, just have to focus on taking care of critters. So, you know, you get what you pay for.
This is gonna be awesome.
This will be fun. I'm looking forward to this, guys. All right, go live whenever.
Oh, we're live, dude. I tried to start, but then we started. Okay, so sorry, these are noise canceling fucking headphones. Welcome to what I don't know what number it is. 62 of From the Ground Up. Today we have a special guest who is very special. The infamous Ice Cube. That's my special guest. But Evan just kind of showed up. He lives like 10 minutes down the road, so
I had to see my buddy Howard and see you guys. So
you just popped in. A little shit that we need to get out of the way is t-shirts are for sale, obviously, Theportcitypythons.com. What else is there really? Amazon links will be in the description of the video, as well as all of our YouTube videos, and then in the description of the podcast. And all you have to do is click on the Amazon links and purchase things as you normally would. And that's pretty much it. All right, now I guess we'll talk a little bit about Southern Carpet Fest.
Southern Carpet Fest. For those of you that will be attending or want to attend, as of this moment, we had a venue and now we don't. So plans have changed a little bit. We've got 2 weeks to come up with a new spot, and we will get that taken care of and let you guys know. Please follow us on Southern Carpet Fest, the Facebook page, and stay ready for updates, and I'll let everybody know what's going on. You can PM me personally. It's under Andrea Evan Browder. Yes, I share a profile with my wife. No, neither one of us cheated.
Whipped.
But it's just she doesn't even share on there, and it's all pictures that we would share back and forth anyway. So anywho, but that's the reason why we share a page. So but yeah, PM me. Like I said, you can PM me on there. You can DM me on Instagram or at Carpet Cartel, my Facebook page, whatever. And like I said, I'll let y'all know what's going on. But it's, as far as we know right now, Carpet Fest is still going down.
Yeah, I would do it as far as plan everything for the same date. We just don't know exactly where. It will be somewhere in DFW area, which narrows it down to like 3 hours within fucking Dallas, because this place is crazy. But mostly because our guest today is Howard Redding from Redding Reptiles, and he already bought plane tickets to come out here. So we're going to try to, as best as we can, we're going to keep it the same date.
Yep, Southern Howard Fest.
There you go. So Howard's over there cleaning cages. Hopefully he can hear us. And so Howard, what's the deal with the flamingo? I just want to get that out of the way in the beginning.
All right, quick story, which won't be too quick. All right, a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, known him for many, many years, decades even. He got married at the Oakland Zoo. And it was a nice, kind of hippy-dippy thing, those Cali people. And they had flamingos set out. So, Howard thought it was a good idea to take a flamingo. Nevertheless, I get dropped off at the airport. There's a flamingo in the back of the rental car, of my buddy's rental car. So I said, just take it and do whatever, and we'll see what happens. So that flamingo Mingo, went to the Oakland A's game the next day, and he was spotted several other places in town. So then we kind of made a thing of it, where he traveled. He was brought back from California to Maryland, and I kept him, and we became good friends. And we've been everywhere. We've been to back to SoCal. We were there at the Pomona show. We've been to Florida multiple times. Chicago. We've been all over the country. And it's just, I don't know, it's just something that's kind of fun and whimsical. There's a group of us that were at the wedding that pass them off and take them different places.
Are you going to breed it?
Been on displays. No. No, he's not to reproduce. He's right in the same game line that I am. He is not able to procreate. That's just no. For society's sake or anything else. But no, it was just something fun. And it started off as a little joke at the wedding when I was getting dropped off at O'Hare and or Oakland rather. And then once it went to the O's game and here, there, and elsewhere, it just kind of snowballed from there.
Gotcha. So I guess we'll revert a little bit back to kind of how you got started. About what time frame did you start keeping reptiles and what got you into it?
I'm glad you asked. And I might even have to stop for a moment for this question. All right.
Good, the way this sounds like newspaper ruffling. That's pretty much all we got on our end.
Oh, I'm cleaning cages. Sorry. That's a good question. How does it start?
Yes, and about what time did you get interested in reptiles?
It starts, every little boy likes dinosaurs.
And girls.
And every little people like dinosaurs. And then you find yourself like me personally, and I know a lot of other people, you're in the woods or the creeks or the streams or whatever, and finding different things and seeing different, reptiles, amphibians, and flipping stones and finding crawfish that you never even thought about eating, but later in life, you're going to love the hell out of those fuckers. And then it just, I guess I caught a green snake, a smooth green snake here in Maryland when I was, I don't know, 6 or 7. And I kept it and I killed it because I was
died or you killed it?
Probably both.
Well, no, it died, so therefore I killed it. I mean, I took it out of the wild, and it was in whatever, at my house. And then it evolved into, I guess, in 90. I got involved in different organizations, got involved with a local nature center, and we got some Okiti corn snakes. And in 93, I decided to pair them up, and I bred them and hatched them out. So that's the first time I did a breeding was in 93 with some locality Okiti or Okiti corn snakes.
All right, sweet. So how did you evolve from there? Where did you go from corn snakes? And were you successful your first time out?
With the corn snakes?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was right out of the bat. Corn snakes were fine. And then, of course, as a lot of new keepers coming into this, not even keepers, just people that get interested in reptiles, what happens is at the beginning, they buy a bunch of everything because they're on fire. They want to buy one of these and one of these, and they like these and like that. And then that's what I did. And then I started slimming down and specializing. And then I found John Martin from New Jersey. And I was looking at carpet pythons at the Mid-Atlantic Reptile Show. in Timonium, Maryland, which was huge. It was the second largest show in the country at the time, aside from, at that point, it was probably the Orlando show, because that predated the Daytona show. And so I was able to meet with John and get one of those animals from him, and he's still breeding and producing animals today. And I bought one from him, and this little, that little carpet bit the snot out of me. Every chance he got, every opportunity he had, he bit me. So I got discouraged and ended up selling him. And then I bought a 18-month-old animal. And at that point, with carpet pythons, typically they're relaxed. They're past that defensive point. They're not as defensive. They have a large enough size to where they feel confident with themselves. They're not considered a prey item anymore. And I had that, and it just passed this last May last year, after having it for 27 years.
Man. So what made you say, hey, that really sucked, and then pretty much just get a new one?
You just traded it out for an older model?
What made you think it's going to be different the second time around?
It's a different animal. To be honest with you, at that time, I didn't think about that. I thought I was just so fascinated with the morelia, with the carpet pythons. Whatever, I'll try another one. All right, I get a crappy one. Whatever. Let's move on. And I did, and then so I decided that, I guess I was 18, 19 at the time. And with vending all these shows and seeing people behind the tables like Jason Balin, and even though I didn't know Balin at this time, but I know he vended there, and Buddy Buscemi, and a lot of other people, I was like, one day I'm going to be on that side of the table. So when I was looking at those animals, they're kind of spendy animals when you're, 18 years old. I'm like, well. So I ended up I shut down for a while, sold off a lot of my animals, got my career, my life going, and got a job, got a vehicle, a house, et cetera, and so forth, and got to the point that, hey, I'm financially stable, whatever that means these days. But so I said, all right, let's do it. So I got back into carpets of all the projects I worked with. And I did, I had Hondurans, I had the Tangerine Hondurans, I had Brazilian Rainbow Boas, Dumerals, Eastern Chain Kings, Corn Snakes, just the whole, I tried to buy up everything I wanted to work with. And then I stepped away for 10 years and came back into it, and the carpet pythons caught my eye again, and that's when the Jaguar morph was just coming out.
So what do you have in the cages behind you that you're working with right now?
Behind me, I have they're all jungles and coastals. The only thing I work with are jungles and coastals. I don't have any jungle morphs on hand. The coastals I have are tigers, tiger jags, plain, and jags. I have some red jags.
How do you feel about the jungles and coastals being the same animal?
I need proof. No. I think they are. I think it's a northern and southern variant of them. It's the same shit, man. It's
the wrong crowd.
I think it is. It depends on, give me proof.
Yeah. I mean, we're all kind of at least me and Evan, there's just so many reasons why there's no reason to mix them at this point. So it's like, we'll just take a jungle, let it be a jungle, and a coastal, let it be a coastal, and leave it there. We don't need jungle jags anymore. We don't need to, put those morphs and stuff in jungles. I mean, I personally like them the way they are, and like.
Oh, I'm sorry, I might have mistaken your question. I was thinking about whether they're the same thing or not.
Yeah. Whether you felt like they were the same thing.
Yeah, because a lot of people say, they're just really the same animal.
So you can breed them.
Well, right, yeah, you can breed any carpets, but
no,
genetically, I think they're very similar. I think it's just a northern and southern variant. I don't know. I'm way underqualified to make that statement. However, all of my jungles are jungles. All of my coastals are coastals. I don't do any integrades, anything. I deal with morphs in the two different subspecies. And what kicks me about this is with a lot of the morphs, and this is me personally, and well, yeah. You have an animal that has its own unique trait. Jungles, I selectively breed mine to be, the yellow and the black, the rich dark blacks, tipping, no tipping, banding, whatever. I like my coastals to be, a classic color like a Madame Blueberry with the gunmetals, this, that, and the other, tiger jags. They're all individual animals. For me to make an albino jungle jag, that makes no fucking sense to me. Because, and the reason why I say that, I mean, everybody can do their own, it's your rodeo, pal. I don't care. But there's all these different things that make these animals unique. So you breed for this black and yellow jungle. Why are you going to make it an albino?
So do you think no albinos have a place, period?
Well, these pure coastals, I'm sure.
No. I'm not saying that they don't have a place. No, what I'm saying is that they don't. Why would you want to integrate animals? Like to the extent that you have an albino, why do you want to have an albino zebra jag?
I think because a lot of people
you have the albino, you have the zebra, and the jaguar, and they all bring different colors and patterns to the table.
Yeah, and I feel once you get to that point, you're not making a better animal. You're just making an animal with more genes that tends to be more washed out.
Well, there's so many different ways you can go with that. I mean, what do they really want to, what do you want to do? What is your outlook? Do you want to be, do you want to try to keep up with the Joneses? Do you want to do something different, or? I don't know. Or I just stick with what I have. I really don't know what there is.
So you're saying there's no Carpondros in your future?
Is that animal visible?
Yes.
Yeah, where you can see them.
So in my head, why would I make that
any different?
Any different? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Why should I make that? And, what am I looking for in this animal? This animal has some nice yellows to it, has that nice black to it, reasonable amount of tipping, pretty much middle grade of every aspect you might want. So why do I want to make it an albino jaguar?
What's your ideal jungle?
My ideal jungle? everyone. Let me.
So there's not a particular pattern and color that you're going
He
for?
said what he line breeds for was those high yellows and deep, deep black.
Oh, they're all, yeah, the deep blacks. All of them are hot. All of them are. This is, and I really don't know how this is looking on video or anything else.
Oh, that's nice.
You can
But
tell
that's
that's really clean.
Yeah, just the
That's
bands are so. I mean,
Would that be considered a
just so-
50-50?
no,
Because yeah,
just the way
no, that's not a
it's so-
50-50.
I don't even know how the words to use.
So you seem to be a banded, bright yellow, dark black guy.
The bright yellow, what I try to focus on, and it's going to be noisy because while I'm doing this, I'm multitasking, but the bright yellow, I think the main thing is the blacks. Like, you can get the bright yellows in it, but I have some other animals that might not be as visible. They just have that jet black. There's no sheen to it whatsoever. They're just completely jet black.
Is it possible? I mean, you think that it's obviously possible to have as dark black as you can get and as yellow as you can get, or is it the more yellow you get, the more tipping you get and more faded out the black?
I don't quite understand your question.
Meaning that when you're breeding for banded bright yellows and blacks, do you tend to get some that are bright yellow, but the blacks aren't quite as bold, and then you'll have ones that have the black's really good, but the yellow's not really there? Is there ever a
affect each
perfect
other,
match,
or
you know,
yeah.
like a complement where they're both at the same time?
That is perfect. That's a perfect question. No. And no, there's never anything perfect. And the reason why nothing's ever perfect is when you're selectively breeding, you should always strive for better. It's always the next thing. I've been producing carpet pythons for 7-8 years now, and I have yet to breed something that I have produced personally.
oh really?
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. What you want to do is you want to breed stuff and produce it and get it out there and say, hey, I made this.
Right.
You know why I haven't? Guess why I haven't?
You just haven't found the perfect male to go to your female or female to go to your male, and you had to outsource?
It's not good enough.
Right.
It's not where I want it to be.
So you have 0 holdbacks.
No, I have a ton of holdbacks.
You're just not breeding them.
I'm not breeding them. I have holdbacks they're well able to. I have holdbacks from 6-7 years ago.
Damn. So do you feel confident picking them out of the egg? Who's going to be good? Who's not going to be good?
No, right out of the egg. I know exactly what's going to work. Exactly what I'm looking for. And there's a couple different markers that I look for. However, the thing is that I want it to be just that right thing, and it's not for me. It's not for the market. It's not for anyone else. It's just for me to do what I want to do.
Right. So is it a thing where you're looking at classifieds, or, you have enough friends there in the Northeast where you can say, fuck, man, like, this guy's jungle is better than anything I produced, and then it kind of catches your eye and then you go for it?
No. That doesn't happen.
How do you source the best looking animals?
How do I source them? Well, it's now I'm at the point where I'm past sourcing animals.
But if you're not breeding ones you produce, you're getting them from somewhere.
No. I'm raising up the animals that I do produce to see how they turn out.
And he's going to breed them later.
And then breed them later. Yeah, there's like, if I see something, I look at classifieds here and there, and if I see something that blows my skirt up, then I'll fucking buy it. But for the most part, I'm just trying to keep everything in here. You know, with what I have good lines. I have, you know, a lot of stuff I have is undocumented. A lot of the stuff is very documented. Some of the stuff I can't call it documented because it doesn't satisfy my criteria. It doesn't satisfy my, all right, if I'm going to call it this, then it has to go back to this point. It has to be traced back to, you know, so-and-so produced it or so-and-so produced it or whomever. But it just, yeah, so I have right now, I have everything I need or that I care to choose with right now here. I'm just trying to get it to my liking.
So what matters more to you, the lineage of it, having documented lineage, or the best animal? If you had to choose between a documented animal that is a little bit not as good looking and an undocumented animal that is just, you know, as great as you want it to be.
It's just what I want. It's not, I'm not big into lineage or documentation. It's just what's appealing to me, what I enjoy working with.
Okay, so excuse me, my brain's not working at full capacity, but I need to make sure I understand this. Okay, if you're not buying from other people and you're not breeding ones you've produced, have you just been breeding the same ones over and over for the past couple of years? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
So how do you expect to get better looking ones if you keep breeding the same ones?
Because there's so much, I guess, diversity in a clutch. I mean, let's look at Sickness with Bill and his green trees. He just did that repeat pairing. There's not a guarantee that you're going to get another green tree that looks like Sickness in that clutch.
It's
possible.
Pay a lot of money to try.
Yeah, but it's possible. So even though you could breed the same pair over and over and over, and then this one time you just get this phenomenal animal that is just crazy.
Okay, well that's interesting. I guess it's interesting to me because I feel like normally when we talk about line breeding, it's like, okay, I find the two prettiest ones out of this one, and either put them together or put them back to another parent. You know, it's like always using the prettiest ones of the babies. And so it's interesting that his thing is like, let me just keep putting together the same ones till I get
to keep, you know, a few holdbacks without having to worry about it. I guess why not?
I guess I never knew you could. I guess it had to happen at one point. Never mind. Okay, never mind.
Howard, do you keep anything other than snakes?
Pardon me?
Do you keep anything other than snakes, like lizards, geckos, turtles, tortoises, anything?
I have 2 crested geckos and a ball python.
Oh shit! He said the B word.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you going to say a second ago? Sorry.
No, what I was gonna to retort to you, Melissa, was that the reason why is I have enough animals here. I have enough breeders here, or up and coming breeders, is to be able to, you know, like you said, put, you know, mother to son, son to daughter, you know, blah, 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 and try to work it out and just try to nail things down to get that phenotypical, you know, that phenotype that I'm striving for. And at this point, from what I've done, I just haven't gotten that to that point where I'm satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
I have a large enough group of, you know, breedable animals.
When's the last time you bought a snake?
The last time I bought a snake, a month or two ago.
Was it morelia?
I got him in on Friday. Oh no. They're a side fun project.
Got
And are you familiar with Ramphiophis rubopunctatus?
I'm not familiar with the language that you're speaking to me, but one of the two people next to me might.
I know what you're talking about.
Whoa, Joe. Good job.
Yes. It's a colubrid. So, and it's rear fang, correct?
No. Yes, it is. It is.
Oh, you know what? I think aren't they like a reddish orange? I think you sent me a picture of these one time.
Well, here's the thing about those is I inherit them to like a hognose snake as far as their inheritance with their rear fanged and blah blah blah.
Common names Rufus beak snake, correct?
That's correct.
I was about to ask. There has to be a more normal name.
There's a Rufus beak snake. There's the red beak snake. There's the red-headed beak snake. There's your rostratus, your oxyrhynchus, and your rubopunctatus. And I'm specifically focused on the rubopunctatus, which is the red-headed beak snake. And I'll go grab this critter.
And that's a heavily imported animal, correct?
They are. Much to my, I'm not an import guy. I hate importing animals as much as I do with conservation and everything else. I hate it.
But it is necessary at times with certain species.
It is necessary. And a lot of my zoo folk, I try to explain to them, and I do explain to them, is that without the importation of some of these species that we currently have, they would not. Somebody's got a message. They wouldn't be in zoos. Fiji iguanas, just for one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on and on and on with all these other species that are currently in zoological collections at, different places at the AZA.
And guess what? They were all smuggled in the 70s and in the 60s. There was a lot of smuggled animals for zoos. So all of a sudden there's a high horse in the zoo community about that shit when it all started there.
Yep. But no, it didn't start there. It started in the private sector. But that being said, the thing is it would be really nice, and we're getting a little off track, but I will for a moment.
That's what this show's all about.
Okay, so I'm right on. All right, good.
You're off track. But right on track.
I'm glad to keep up with your business model. There's so much knowledge that can be gained from the academic sector and the private sector. The academic sector being the AZA, the AZZ, all the SSPs, all the academic side of it. But then you have myself and many other, yourselves and the listeners, where it's, private sector and open. There is guidelines that the zoo folks have to follow. For myself, I can do, hey, if I want to do this and I can afford it and I make a stupid mistake by doing this, whatever, it's all on me. But with a lot of the zoo folk, they don't have that opportunity. And there's also guidelines where, I've heard at some zoological institutions where you can't keep your varanids above X amount of degrees, but they won't breed. In the private sector, we'll crank the varanids up. Not myself, but varanid keepers will crank them up to 120, 130 degrees, and damn, there's babies everywhere. So there's just kind of that going on.
Mm-hmm. So getting back onto the rufous beak snakes or the red-headed beak snakes, like you said,
Uh-huh.
is there anyone captive breeding those in the States?
No, there have been some in the past that have done it. Rob Zirkle was kind of a go-to guy for me for a while. He does a lot of, right now he's doing a lot of the Asian rat snakes and stuff like that. I went from there. I talked to Aaron Sloan out in California, who had a group of them. Also worked with April Justine out of California. And now I'm kind of at the point where I'm talking to people in the UK and Germany about them. And in specific, the red-headed beak snakes, yeah, they just don't exist.
So is that a product of people not giving a shit, or is it a product of them being hard to keep and breed?
Nobody knows about them.
Mm.
Nobody knows about these things for the most part, because I've taken them to reptile shows with around a bunch of old timers, and they see them and they're like, "What the heck is that? That's really cool. What is it?"
Mm.
How many do you have in your collection right now?
Right now, I have a 1.1 of the Ruber punctatus. I have a 1 of the rostris, and I have a 1.0 of the rostris. And then I just got in 3 of the rostris. I'm just gonna call them, I don't know what they are yet. If you think carpet pythons are tricky to probe or anything like that, yeah, try it with these guys.
So what are some of the difficulties that you've had so far?
Acquiring the animals. My main difficulty is being able to find these damn things. You can pretty much there's a few long-term captives, of very few, but most of them you have to get wild-caught imports, and then running the gamut with the wild-caught imports, you also have to work with the parasites, internal, external parasites.
So what do you do to treat these guys?
It all depends on the animal. What I do, usually I do externals for treatments, just a typical shoot. I'm kind of stuck right now.
Is there
So you're giving a general glance over as far as external goes for mites or any type of parasite that you may see?
Mites and ticks, and a lot of your wild caught imports, you get your ticks mostly, not so much mites. From my limited importation stuff, but as far as internal, I've never treated for internal parasites. I'd like to get that nailed down. It goes back to, it's kind of cost prohibitive. How much does this animal mean to you? How much does this project mean to you? You're going to spend a lot of money for this, a lot of money for that. It could go one way or for the other. There's a lot of worms and a lot of internal nasties that go on, or you could just let it ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had good luck with just letting it ride and the animal recovering.
And have you seen it so bad that you can visually spot, parasites in the feces and stuff like that, or the urates?
No. I have very limited there's only been, I've only imported 2 animals.
Okay.
That haven't been either captive born or long-term captives.
Mm-hmm.
So you keeping carpets, Nido has been a big talk. Have you tested any of your animals or anything like that? Or
Nido? I've never heard of it. No, okay. All right.
I was like, okay then.
What are you talking about? That doesn't exist. That's a fallacy. Yes, I have. Actually, and it happens every time. And if you're a breeder, you know that in the breeding season, when you're dropping your temperatures, especially with your males get stressed out. And with the drier conditions, especially here in the Mid-Atlantic, they get stressed out, they get dried, and they get that wheeze. And all of a sudden, that wheeze is an RI. And then now, instead of it being an RI, it's a Nido. Years past, for me, it was always just, yeah, the males get a wheeze because they're stressed out, because they're trying to, well, do what all us males try to do and find a lady to spend the evening with. And then they come out of it, you know, once it gets more humid and this, that, and the other. But this year, with everything going on in the carpet, in the morelia community, I should say, with the Nido, it kind of struck home. So I instead of just kind of, you know, saying, well, this is typical and let it ride, I did have one animal tested, and it came back negative. There was a bunch of speculation with the inheritance, where it comes from, what's going on. Is it something that's viable? Is it how long is it dormant? The incubation period, this, that, and the other. And I think, from what I was told, is that the main issue is that there was a lot of false negatives. And with the false negatives was the serum that the animals were being tested with wasn't conclusive. So in other words, if you send an animal out to be tested, or a subject out to be tested, and it ends up being negative, what are you testing it against? What is your control?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and some of the controls are from, you know, yeah, there's just inconsistencies with the control datum.
Well, I think that there's just inconsistencies with us also. We're not exactly running labs here, you know, if we're self-testing.
Well, exactly. And that's where, and I'll try to put this thing here, but it's not going to stay still because they don't. But yeah, that is the whole thing about it, is being able to, not only are you, you know, possibly testing and sending out animals, or specimens that might be in a lab that's not adequate, but it's also up to, you know, me, you know, Howard Snakekeeper. What the hell do I know about taking specimens so they're not contaminated?
Yeah, I wouldn't know the first thing. I mean, I'm not going to act like I would know. I would fuck it up for sure.
Neither do I. That's why I spend a fuck ton of money on vets, dude.
Right. That's why vets exist. Sometimes you would think that they shouldn't exist by the egos of, you know, some keepers, but who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm not proud, because, you know, that's all about it. And this thing doesn't stop moving.
So now, is that, if you can't see, if you're listening, Howard has one of the redhead beak snakes out. And is this a? It looks to be about the size of an adult corn snake, maybe a little bit skinnier and longer. Is this an adult here?
Yes.
Okay. Is that a male or a female?
This is an adult female. And I don't know if you can see it. I don't even know the view of range, but from my finger, that's the tail.
Whoa. If no one can, people can't see, but that's probably 40% of the body is the tail.
From there, that's the vent and that's the tail.
And if you're a colubrid person, you're saying that thing's got a big dick.
or you might say it's a male, and I'll say, nope. This is a female. And she's rad, and she has that kind of a lapid look to her, but she's fun. I enjoy her.
So how do you probe this thing? Does it go down much deeper than others, or is it?
Yeah, good luck with that. So you know how nobody is producing these things in the States,
right?
You pretty much got to get a whole pile of them and throw them in a box together, and it's gonna work. That's all you have with these guys. It's it's a lot.
So
but
how sure are you that that's a female?
I'll let you know when I see her like pushing eggs out of her ass, but I'm pretty confident.
All right, just wondered.
No, I'm not at all. But that's why this is I've been vending shows and I've been to reptile shows for decades, and that was the first animal that was introduced to me that really blew my skirt up, rocked my world. I was like, you know what? I've seen a lot of everything, but that's the first thing that's really, really stoked it.
Mm-hmm. I hope you really wear skirts. Like, I want you to come to Carpet Fest in a skirt, just so I can make somebody blow it up.
You know what? Hey, you know what, Evan? That would be great. I would wear a skirt to Carpet Fest if I knew where Carpet Fest was going to be held.
Oh, it's in Dallas, Texas. That's all you need.
I'm gonna get you a tutu, so when you show up, no matter where it's at, you're gonna rock that motherfucker.
Dude, I'm gonna be in DFW in my rental car with 128 pounds or 125 pounds of crawfish, and just looking for some place to boil it up. So.
Yeah, I'm not a seafood, crawfish, or whatever fishy thing eater.
What?
Yeah, no.
It's what?
Shut up. I'm hanging up on you. I'm done with this show.
He said mic drop.
It's real hard.
It's weird, man.
You got to suck the head and eat the ass, dude.
Work. I'm not sucking anything. I'll leave that up to you.
Not all of it's too much work. You can eat catfish.
If they're cooked right, that's not too much work.
No, but like fried catfish, like that's not work. He won't eat any of it. So the work excuse is bullshit. He just don't like it.
Well,
I blame on the fact he's from New York. Their seafood's not like our seafood down here.
He's like, give me some pizza.
There's a pizza pie.
I think Howard really left. He's like,
yeah. He's like, I'm out.
Howard?
No, I'm still here.
I'm gonna try to figure out to get like a big piece of meat or something.
All it is I mean, you just crack that tail and
crack that tail.
It's delicious.
I mean, it's gonna be fucking. I mean, Howard, I don't know if you got a place to stay, but you can. We clearly, by the bed in the background, you could stay here if you want to.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Bedroom.
I appreciate that. I do travel often, and with my travels, I've learned many things. What parking lots to sleep in, what parking lots not to sleep in. Always rent a car big enough to sleep in. And sleeping on a friend's floor or couch is always a luxury.
Hey, I slept in Bill's snake room last year.
You did?
Yeah.
On what? What did you
On the
say?
floor.
Nothing under
No,
just
I had a
the-
pillow and a cover, and I
Yeah.
passed the fuck out.
There's $20,000 worth of snakes around you, but
Dude, I was as comfortable could be.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
No, it's fine. My accommodations are covered.
I'm
for
sure. I
sure.
mean, we don't even know where the fuck we're sleeping. We were gonna sleep.
Well, let's get back to topic then, since
Oh,
we don't know
we're getting
a
on
lot
topic?
of these things.
All
Let's
right.
get back to
What do you want to talk about?
currents.
So we're talking about snakes, right?
Yeah, it's on and off with the snake thing, but
I still want to know why you're not going to breed Mingo.
Hey, man, you know, you can't tarnish a good thing. You know, I don't know.
I mean,
Why would I breed them, dude? Look, I've been told not to reproduce myself. Why in the fuck am I gonna breed the plastic flamingo?
Dude, a mini Howard would be awesome.
A mini Howard would be awesome. Yeah, you know what? Let me tell you something, pal. I have an older sister. Wonderful woman, wonderful mother, wonderful wife. Yeah, my parents had me after her, and my father said, "Hey, Lorna, it's not getting any better, so why don't we just cut this shit out?"
Oh my god.
Okay, somewhat snake question. Do you use that paper that you're putting in right now for all your snakes?
Not all of them. This is a nice little fun animal. Not all of them. For the adult snakes, I use the craft paper. In my tubs, I use the craft paper. Above the 16s and the 32s, I use the craft. All the 6-quart tubs, I use over here. I use paper towels for the 6 quarts. Just because simplicity, and I have extra tubs laying around. I have pretty much about 20% extra laying around of what I'm going to use, and then I just swap them out and throw them by the back door. Because I'm not going to wash a tub every freaking time.
Is that a tiger jag?
That is.
That's pretty.
That's
So just for
a
clarification, that's a Balin line bred tiger or something to a jaguar. Who produced that?
Todd Dyer produced that from a Balin. I don't know where he got his jag from, but that is a Balin tiger, and he's going to give you kisses, Evan.
If he can fucking figure his life out.
No, man, he's too busy riding that invisible roller coaster. He's doing good.
Down is up, up is
Rainbow
down.
Railroad or some shit.
He's jag, all right. But yeah, he's just super duper reduced.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because a lot of people, they have distorted views of how big a coastal will get. I mean, that male is not overbearing. What size are you keeping your adult coastals, jungles, all that stuff in?
I keep my adult females, my big adult females, in T10s, animal plastics, animal plastics, animal plastics, animal plastics.
And those are 4 foot. Let me just clarify.
Yes, they're 4. They're the T10s. They're 4 by 2 by 15 tall. I do have some T8s, which are 4 by 2 by 12s. I like to divide those and put some of my grow outs in.
And
it
looks like they have the Anthony Campanetto carpet shelf in there.
No. That's
Am I making shit up?
That's just the shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that's what Animal Plastics made specifically for Anthony Campanetto when he made or when he was producing carpet pythons.
Oh, well, no, what they do with that is they do that. This is a 48-inch enclosure. What they did with Anthony Campanetto was was a 30. Are you all right? Was a
I think you
30.
missed. I'm sorry.
was a 36-inch cage, with the same height and the shelf. So yeah, that's that cage you're speaking of.
One of the comments in YouTube, just to clarify, I'm not a fruit fly breeder. Joe did that, and now it seems like somebody actually messaged me and asked me if I bred fruit flies, and I was like, "What the fuck? No!" And they're like,
Sooner or later, Howard's gonna be a flamingo breeder, and you're gonna be the fruit fly breeder. For both. It's all in good fun, you know. I guess
I have bred fruit flies, but I don't do it like all the time.
you do it like at a necessity. Not any left over to sell.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see.
Oh, never mind. I'm gonna save this for the week that Evan's like actually the guest.
Man.
I'm sorry, I had a question about his rat breeding, but we're saving that till the 30th.
So what is this evolving to? Come on, more questions.
No, like my brain. Me and Evan are distracting each other. I think that's it. I'm not used
you're
to
laughing
it.
so much.
Yeah, it really threw me off, man.
That was my bad.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw the fruit fly comment and I went left with it.
So you guys have people commenting in on stuff?
Yeah, on the
like
YouTube
try
chat,
not to
it's
read
live.
it, but sometimes it gets overwhelming and it's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's never like, hey guys, you're doing great. It's more like, fuck you
You
guys.
asshats.
Say that?
Yeah, someone just said you fucking nerds.
Okay, they usually never say that. It's usually its own separate conversation. Oh wait, what are we looking at right now?
That is what is that? That's a GFX animal. That's a GFX flashpoint animal.
Can you explain both those words?
Yes, GFX. That's Julie Bender. Crossed with shoot, I have the same thing here. Crossed with Scattershot. And
so
what we ended up doing.
Flashpoint? Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's what she calls it. It's a flashpoint animal. We did the same thing, but different sires, and just kind of swapped off.
Is she still working with gray bands?
I haven't spoken with her in a while, so I do not know what she is working with. But I know she was working with them for quite some time. Last time I was down there, she was. But it's been a little bit.
Is there any lineage of animals that you like in particular, or stuff that you'd want to get in your collection at this point as far as jungles go?
That's a good thought. Yeah. I like I get a Turner girl. I don't want to disturb her too much because she should be gravid. Which goes the Shuit, Larry Black stuff as far as lineage. Other than that, it's just kind of rad shit that looks good.
Yeah. And are you a feed them sparsely, keep them small, or are you trying to get them big?
Oh, dude, I'm a midget farmer. I'm totally a fucking midget farmer. Without a doubt. I keep my animals slim. You can walk into my room, and when you look in my room, there's some animals that I've gotten secondhand that I have not produced or have not raised from hatchlings, and you can see the size differential. And unfortunately I've had so many animals come in that have done well, and then heart issues, liver, kidneys, everything crashes because people are chasing the Joneses and trying to feed them up and do too much for them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you see that we've had such a limited stock of animals to work with per se. Is it an inbreeding issue?
Can I put that right there?
Feeding issue? And is it just an everything altogether issue?
No, it's a keeper issue. I'd say almost most of it is a keeper issue.
So what are people doing wrong that you feel like, or I don't mean to put you on the spot to be like, this is what everyone should do, but what do you feel like is the right thing to do in your
That was loud. Pardon me? Hello?
Sorry, he was saying, what do you think people should do? And like, we don't want to make you feel like you're saying like everyone should do this, but like you're saying it's a keeper issue. So what, change, like, what do you think needs to be done different?
As far as husbandry or the animal, if we're going along the same lines, my best statement, and I advise everybody to do it, is watch your animals. Pay attention to their movements, pay attention to what they're doing, their activity. They'll let you know when they want to eat and when they don't need to eat. If they're dormant or if they're cruising around, look at their body conditioning. Just watch your animals. They'll tell you everything you need to know. What I'd advise people to do, other than that, is stop feeding your animals so damn much.
Yeah, so I mean, people always take the snakes eat once a week thing. What do you think it should be? What do you end up kind of feeding a male, and then what do you kind of end up feeding a female?
It depends on the animal. It depends on the time of year. It depends on whether they're breeding, whether they're not breeding. There's so many different things that go into that. It goes back to watch your animals. If I see an animal that's active and actively hunting prey, and it looks, has a good muscle tone to it, and this, that, and the other, I'll give it a small meal. And then I may wait a couple of weeks or 3. And when they thin out, I'll give it a little bit larger meal. Mm-hmm. I just watch. That's the only thing I could really focus on, is watch the animals, dude. These animals have been around for 120 plus million years. I'm only 41. So I just watch them.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, as someone who keeps jungles, I want to selfishly ask, mine seem pretty much hungry, at least my males, pretty much hungry all the time.
But your male's also the biggest dick of a jungle.
Yeah, but they're pretty much always cruising and always hungry. So how do I differentiate between, him looking for a female or him looking for food?
Time of year and muscle tone, structure, body structure. And you know how that happens? Time, experience.
So, I mean, I could see that your males here, they have you can see the striation of their muscles. You can see not like the spine, but you can see where the spine kind of comes to a little bit of a curve at the top there. And then you see like 2 lines of their muscle, because I mean, these are super muscular snakes. So is that what you're looking for? Like a nice slim snake?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. What were you going to say?
Mine's kind of off topic, on topic. So you talked about, breeders, not watching their snakes, all those kind of things that you have to do to be a keeper of these snakes. So would you ever sell your snakes to a first-time keeper?
Yes. Yes.
What do you feel is something to keep in mind as a first-time keeper of Morelia?
As a first-time keeper, what happens a lot with me is I get people, and I encourage this, I try to promote, as a lot of us Morelia keepers do, we try to promote these animals. And, there's the stigmata of them, where they're nasty, they'll kill you, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. But there are some people that aren't quite ready to take it home today. You know, there's customers that come to me, they really like them, they're beautiful, they're wonderful, this, that, and the other. I can make them a deal or whatever. But the deal that I always make them is, if you're not familiar with them, go over there, go over the table that has all those books for sale, and buy this book and buy that book and read those. And if you have any questions before or after you read the books, contact me and I can give you some information and I can educate you. And if I don't have an answer for it, then I know somebody that does, and we can learn together. And that's really important. But I do have a lot of people that, you know, some of my shows are monthly, some of my shows are quarterly or whatever. And I talk to a lot of people. It's like, you know what, I tell you what, you know, do this research, do the background. And then after a while, you know, after the next show, come to me, and then you have everything squared away. You have your knowledge, you have your enclosure, and you can properly care for this animal. I'm more than willing to sell it to you. But yeah, I do refuse sales because of, you know, lack of knowledge.
I wish more people.
But I also offer my knowledge and my time. And you know, it's what it, a lot of people do it. A lot of well-known people do it. And that's why they're well-known, is because they've been doing it for a long time. And they also have, you know, if you want to be successful in anything, be here in 5 years, be here in 10 years. And, you know, Redding Reptile Breeders, my name's, you know, Howard Redding. Redding is my name. That's all I have. It really is. So why would you not, you know, promote that and purvey that as the best?
Do you feel like there's a point where business and doing the right thing can prevail, you know, for someone who, you know, obviously you're not doing it full time, right? So is there a way that someone could mix that together?
In what aspect?
Meaning, like, can someone make a full-time job out of doing the right thing, selling snakes, and not, you know, it's different when you have to sell snakes to feed your family or pay your rent. Like, is there a way where you could do both at the same time, hold that moral high ground and not just sell to anyone, and then also do absolutely the right thing and sell to the right person all the time?
You're asking the wrong person, and I say that because I'm not in that position.
Right.
Unfortunately, I got a crappy day job that fucks up my fun, that pays bills and pension and benefits and mortgage and all that other shit. But yeah, it can be done. I'm sure it could be done, but I don't know that could make your means. You know, if I think that if you really have to, if you're relying on snakes to be your only income, my best advice was a good friend of mine, and he said, huevos, huevos, huevos. So you have to do eggs, eggs, eggs. You have to do production. So you're either doing quality or quantity. And what market are you looking at? And with this being, you know, just fun for me, if this is fun, I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, if it's fun, then yeah, it's not about quantity or trying to pay the bills or do whatever. But for some, it is. For some people make this, there's a lot of successful people that have made this a full-time gig. With me, I just couldn't, me personally, I couldn't be that focused into into any of it.
If
For
you
an
don't mind
extended-
me, sorry, if you don't mind me asking, what is your day job?
My day job. Well, never mind. Okay, I won't say that.
It's okay. Evan already tried to tell me you're a hooker in your day job. So
No. See, he's got it all wrong. I'm an out of work. I'm an underqualified condom model, but that's okay. No.
That's right. That's what it is.
No, I'm a machinist by trade. I work in Washington D.C. and I'm the shop foreman at a nice little shop that has done well for me. I do very well for myself, and yeah. So I'm a machinist. So I work with steel all day.
So by the way you were talking, it seems like you would never want to give that up to get 2 snakes full time, because that would take the fun away. Is that what I got from that?
I wouldn't want to give up my day job
to do snakes full time, because it would take the fun away from snakes. That's what I got, but I don't know if I'm
Oh,
getting
no. I wouldn't want to no. I wouldn't want to give up the day job, because that's a hefty paycheck. To be honest, that's no, that works out well for me. That's my pension. That's my retirement. My day job pays for me to be able to work with snakes full time. Once I am able to retire.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything at this point that, as far as snakes go, that you're looking to get into, you know, maybe besides more beaked snakes or something like that? Is there anything that catches your eye right now?
No.
So straight to the point.
Very
Matter of
simple.
fact.
No. Do you want me to elaborate? No.
You don't want to mass produce ball pythons for YouTube likes?
No, they're royal pythons now. Don't you get it, son? I no, there's not. You know, and I'm doing this. Really, you know, you. It's interesting when questions are asked about, are you doing, you know, are you interested in this? Are you interested in that? And, you know, I just enjoy working with people. The snakes are fun. The snakes are rad. You know, they can pay for themselves. I get a little bit of money, you know, to support them. But I like conversations. I like meeting people. I like learning about people. Joe.
Yeah.
What's your favorite breakfast cereal? We already went through that.
Yeah, we went through it, but you guys were talking about dry or wet, and then I didn't even get into fucking weirdos talking about that. I mean, if I had it's like a Fruit Loops mostly.
I like Fruit,
I go Fruit Loops.
I said Fruit Loops, but when I think about it, I think it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is great.
It's the one place where you get to express yourself without worrying about, you know, I like the Fruity Loops. I like the Fruity Loops. I like the Fruity Pebbles. I don't give a fuck. You got a problem with that? No.
Fruity is delicious.
It's delicious at that point. You can't.
Sorry, did you become black while I was gone?
Is that what Yeah, don't worry about us. See, it got fun when you were gone. Now it's back to the fuckery. Now I'm lost at the breakfast cereal.
Brought up Fruit Loops.
God damn.
Yeah, I messed you up. I messed you up enough to show you this thing.
So what is that?
I don't know if that's visible. How does that look? Does that look good like that or not?
It looks like a jag of some sort.
That's a tiger jag. That's a Balin tiger jag.
So this one has a lot more pattern than the last one that we saw.
Yeah, it's not as produced. Yeah, that's the Balin tiger jag that I got from him many moons ago, and he's sired a few clutches for me. He's done well. He was a hatchling when I got him.
So what are your let's talk about Jags and the neuro, because I see a lot of people coming into some of these groups, and you can tell they're pretty new because they're all like, why would you breed something that's like that? And then you have that mine's not neuro at all, mine is nothing.
I'm on the Jagtard train.
I like them, and I don't think if it shows a high percentage, I guess, of Jagtardation, I don't think it's going to pass
the
it
scientific
on.
form.
And I think a lot of people, a lot of these new people think it's going to pass it on. And I'm like, you can have an animal that shows absolute Jagtard produce a bunch of babies that show almost none, or vice versa. And I mean, so many people are just, why would you breed that? Why would you breed that? And spider balls are the same thing. Like, why would you breed them? They're so wobbly, and I don't see anything wrong with them. I've had Jags that are upside down, inside out.
Well, you never want to go full Jagtard. You know?
Unless she's good looking.
Yeah. I mean, there's clearly they don't fail to thrive. So, I mean, that's apparent. The fact that the gene is still around, same as spider and ball pythons, they certainly don't fail to thrive. But if you try to say you're making a super this year, I may smack you straight in the jaw. But besides that, we're at least past that point, right?
A super Jag?
Yeah. There's still like one dude who's like, you know, I'm pairing Jag to Jag. I'm gonna get the super Jag.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. But
so what was your other than your tangent? What's the? Yeah, I know that. But other than your tangent, what's the question about the Jags? Or
yeah, what do you? I mean, obviously you have them, so you're not against them. But I know so many people are against them. Like, and I've. Do you think that the trait of the wobbleness is inheritable?
Yes, it is. And you know what? It's definitely inheritable. I've seen it better and worse. I've seen the tiger bring out less of it. When you do tiger Jags, it tends to subside a little bit. The thing with that is that they with the I'm trying to collect my thoughts thoroughly. The tiger Jag calms it down a little bit, but it's all about the stressors. Like, I've had Jags that have shown nothing until they've been shipped, or the male Jags, they go batshit crazy once they're in cooling time, and they smell the pheromones and everything else like that. There's those triggers, chemicals, pheromones, stuff like that. That's what makes them loopy. Feeding responses, they'll get loopy.
Did you see that picture that was posted recently where it was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have maternally incubated. It was a jaguar with like the eggs on top of it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. That's my good friend Ryan DeMoss, actually. And we've been discussing that project thoroughly. The thing with that is he's just trying to figure out the incubation of the eggs and how it's going to go, because he's been temping the eggs and seeing what they're at. And the eggs are at the same temperature, even on top of the freaking female, as the female is. So that's why he's letting them ride, just to see. And yeah, it's crazy. It's stupid. I'd do it my damn self, just to see what the outcome is.
I mean,
because nobody would ever do it before. They'd all their assholes would sync up and they'd go throw them in the incubator. Mom's doing a half-ass effort. Let's see what kind of half-ass effort mom does. And he's looking to lose a whole clutch of eggs that are viable at this point, but they're at she left them at day 42, and now They're at day 50 something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I nobody has that kind of control. I give Ryan fucking props for doing that, because I'd want to throw him in the cooker or
yeah,
and get it done. But he's collecting data, and that's what a lot of this is about, is collecting information. You can be successful all the time. Yeah, that's cool. We all like that. But the years you suck are the years you learn.
Mm-hmm. So do you feel that, I mean, I feel like every egg that was ever laid, we freaked out, was like, all right, let's keep it at 88 degrees exactly. Are we finding that the eggs are maybe more hardy than we thought?
Of course they are. Absolutely. Whenever people ask me questions, and I ask them this question, when there's adversity to different climate changes, or, well, you know, I lost power for X amount of time, or this happened or that happened, I ask everybody, before you ask a question, ask yourself what would happen in the wild.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, but also, you know, in the wild, they're not breeding at the temps that they're breeding here, right? I mean, because they're kind of, so in certain areas like up north or something, let's say they're breeding when it's kind of cold outside, and I know some of Australia doesn't get as cold. I mean, I know it gets cold in certain areas, but just a difference in weather, I guess, temps and things. I think that matters as much.
Yep. That's all I got for you is, yep, I agree. And here's the thing is, you have these animals that are in a wild habitat, a wild atmosphere. And then you have these animals that have been kept in a bunch of AP cages at Howard's house their whole lives. So they're conditioned to that.
Right.
So that's where you have to watch the animals and see what they do and see where they go before, you know, you can even speculate on anything.
You ever gonna have you ever kept green trees?
Yes. I did have a ball python in a tree.
They're called royal pythons.
Royal python in a tree.
How long did you have it for?
2 years.
That's enough to realize, you know, if you like something or you don't.
That's long enough to realize that it bored the fuck out of me.
I mean, a green tree is a ball python-ish stick.
It moves even less.
It sits on a stick, but it's just a lot nicer looking.
Man, it's a tree snake with a pretty paint job.
Yep.
You know, it just didn't do anything for me when I was sleeping. It was active. When I was active, It was a beautiful animal. And I really enjoyed it. There just wasn't enough interaction with these carpets, and that's why I'm drawn to carpets, is because they kind of jive with my own personality. You know, I walk in the room and they're very active and they move and they look at me and they're like, all right, we're getting fed. Are we, you know, what's going on?
Does that ever scare you? That's like the opposite of what I want, because his jungles scare me like that.
I don't know.
Have they ever bit you?
Have they who ever bit me?
Any of your collection? Any of them?
Lame question.
Sorry.
Well, actually, because I was going to along those lines, because I talked to Austin earlier, and he said his 7-foot brittle hit him in the hand, and it hurt. And I was going to ask, what's his? Everybody's got that one snake that just bit the shit out of him and hurt more than any others. I just want to know what it was.
That's a better version of my question.
I have pictures that I won't post, but I'll send them to you, Evan.
Right.
I got nailed. They caused nerve damage, and I still have nerve damage, and that was 4 or 5 years ago.
What was it?
Big diamond jungle cross.
Whoa, that's I felt like at least the diamond jungles that I've interacted with have the diamond has kind of calmed down the jungle in them, and they've been really chill.
You didn't know this guy.
Is this? I think you had it. Was it that big blockheaded?
That was blockhead.
Okay.
Yep. That was blockhead.
Like
it had a big blockhead, like a big blockhead. Huge.
He was 22, 23 years old. Yeah. He was a big old guy. And I talked to the same guy I bought him from originally, John Martin. I talked to him about it last Northeast Carpet Fest. If not right before, I talked to him right before that. And he said, "Holy crap, they're still around." He's like, you're the last one that I've ever heard of. So apparently the animal I had, outdated the rest of that clutch when he stopped breeding them back in '94. Mm-hmm. So, oh yeah, he was a nasty, nasty dude.
Now you've hinted at it a few times throughout the show, and then saw it on your Facebook page. I was just wondering what exactly you're doing in conservation.
Oh, thank you very much for asking. Thank you very much for asking. Well, okay, to kind of try to keep it short, and I'm going to have to walk with the phone. Goodbye, snakes. I'm doing a lot of things. What happened is I found that I was with a friend of mine, and I was able to engage with this group of people of biologists and zoologists and zookeepers here at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. And they're a good group of people. They're really good people. They kind of, it's the same reason why, like, if you're a carpet person, you're drawn to this group of people because they're good folks. So I ended up getting involved with some of their projects, and it kind of snowballed from there. And now I've gotten involved with the CCCF, which is the Crocodilian Conservation Center of Florida. I've also gotten together with the KCC, which is the King Cobra Conservancy.
I didn't know that existed.
Oh my gosh. Come on. Get with it.
Oh, sorry, I live under a snake rock.
The King Cobra isn't what's his name? Is it Romulus Whitaker?
Rom Whitaker, yes, that's correct. That's correct. He is directly involved with, thank you very much for the recognition. He is directly involved with the KCC. And I have KCC shirts available.
So you're involved in something that you don't keep, Opti?
No.
Would you
No.
ever keep? Would you ever keep?
Would I ever keep hots? If permissible, if I were to keep hots, they'd be a rhino viper. But my main focus, if I were to keep a hot and it's not considered a hot, it would be a Cuban croc.
Wow.
It would be a Ramba fur.
Are we looking at your sink? What are we looking
Yeah,
at?
man. We did the MTV Cribs just to look at a sink, or what is this? The oven?
No. You're looking at like
a binder. That's
a
much
binder.
worse.
Yeah,
Holy
that's
shit!
Okay.
That's a binder.
A $2 binder. That's what we've resorted to.
Okay, well, here, you can look at the KCC stuff. KCC, Protect the King, Save the Kingdom. You can find us at kingcobraconservancy.org. And then I have other propaganda.
It's pretty awesome.
No, I got to this point, to be honest with you guys. And what do you want to look at? Do you want to look at me or something? Or
Not the binder clips, man.
Yes, you.
Fans want to see your face.
Okay.
This is only the second time we had a ginger on the show, and it's the second time in a row. And people want to see it. Damn it!
I'm not even a ginger.
You're gingerish.
You're strawberry blonde. If you want to go that way, we'll call you a strawberry blonde. But
Fuck all, I'm not. I'm just old. I am none of those. Trust me.
What's your pronoun?
What are my pronouns? Howard the Great. Duh.
Just call me Mingo's daddy.
Yeah, right. Mingo, just call me daddy. It's okay. No, what I found is I got involved with all these biologists and conservation people, and it got fun and interesting, and I started to learn so much more than I did in the private sector, hooking up with these academics. And man, I'm doing so much more with, working about tracking and telemetry with the king cobras and tracking them in Southeast Asia, and also with the Crocodilian Conservation Center of Florida, and helping them out. Then I can do in my bedroom, in my spare bedroom, breeding carpet pythons.
Have you been to Asia to actually study them like firsthand up close, or do you plan on it?
Oh, no, I have not. I would really like to go to Indonesia, but it's funding.
Mm-hmm.
It's there are contributors both to the KCC and the CCCF from the AZA and the AZZ on different aspects. But for the most part, it's not, and you guys know, they're reptiles. They're not megafauna. And when I don't know if you're familiar with it, but with megafauna, I'm not talking orangutans. I'm not talking panda bears or polar bears or, all those megafauna. It's reptiles, and they're underfunded. And that's why I'm trying to work with these different organizations, and that's why I'm doing stuff with the KCC, the King Cobra Conservancy, and also the Crocodilian Conservation Center of Florida, is so we can get money going.
What's the largest conservation organization in the U.S.?
As far as reptiles go?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that.
Never mind.
Well, I was wondering.
No. That's a good question. I couldn't tell you that because I don't know. I just don't know.
So I was wondering what the KCC say does in particular for the king cobras.
The KCC,
right?
What they're trying to do is they're trying to what they are is they're trying to support the ecological research of the animal and deal with habitat fragmentation. And habitat fragmentation is huge, no matter what species you're dealing with, even the orangutans or anything. And that's their main objective. They're also trying to, identify the threats, not only through with the fragmentation, but also with the natives, you know, and to teach them that they're beneficial animals. You know, they don't need to die.
Right. I think this is something that I particularly talk to. People I work with are from all over the world, and particularly people in like India have a lot of experience with stuff like king cobras, and are kind of have such a respect for cobras in general. But the fact is that they're so overly populated. It's how do you manage, you know, what can they do to make sure that these so densely populated countries don't steal all the habitat from crazy large animals like a king cobra?
Well, I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly, but I will answer this. The Madras Crocodile and Bank and Trust Fund in Madras, India, that's part of Romulus Whitaker's. That's part of their main focus is to be able to teach, you know, the natives, the inhabitants, that to collect the animals and not kill them, because once they get the animals collected, they can milk them and then provide anti-venom back into the farm workers, back to the people that get bit, unfortunately. So they're trying to do that kind of, I'm not going to say common bond because it's not, but just to have that association.
Now, stateside, as far as crocodilians, we're talking the American saltwater crocodile.
As far as our conservation efforts at the CCCF, or
right?
Well, the American alligator is doing fine. They're doing very well. The freshwater crocodile is doing well, and actually, what's happening is one of our concerns, or one of our thoughts are anyway, is the Cuban crocodile, the sea ramifer, and most of the proposed 3,000 wild population in Zapata Swamp. The proposition is that they're there, and then the freshwater crocs, the American freshwater crocs, are going there and integrating. And we just don't know whether that's just part of
what was intended to happen by nature, or it's
we just don't know whether that's part of evolution or whether that's just proximity or what. But there's a good distance between the mainland U.S. and Cuba. And especially Zapata Swamp. I don't know that they're going into that area specifically, but
life will find a way.
Yeah, it will. It will. And I don't know. I just got hooked up with a bunch of really, really good people.
Have you seen any of the conservation efforts on the Chinese and Japanese giant salamanders?
Yes.
Because those are, I've seen a couple of those. Those things are pretty neat.
The Japonica, I've seen some limited.
I wouldn't mind, even if I don't want to discount the hellbender here in, even the Northeast, and just that's an amazing giant salamander that's endangered right here in the United States.
Badly.
But go on with your question.
Oh, I don't know if Howard had something to say about what you just said.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
The fans in the chat are loving the binder.
You're making stuff up, man. Yeah, you can make love to that binder. Oh, and here's another thing if you want to look at it. It's the Orion Society about the Eastern Indigo snake.
Oh no, that's cool.
Wait, didn't someone try to tell you that on Facebook, Joe, today?
I have the shirt from the Orient Society.
No, so we posted our like Instagram picture today was of our Mexican black king snake, and someone tried to be like, that looks like a, what did he say? Like,
no, you're totally off track.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, you tried to tell us it wasn't a Mexican black king snake.
Try to tell us it was an elapid, which is
That's what he was. Yeah, someone tried to tell us our MBK is an elapid today.
Cobra.
Gotcha. Never mind. I was going different. Sorry.
How dare you?
Sorry.
Oh, but the Orient Society is in Georgia, and it tries eastern indigos, which are an endangered species here in America, which subside in the longleaf pine forest, which are something like 4% of it exists at this point. And they actually breed them in outdoor enclosures and then I think release them. I don't know how successful that is, but I mean, they do a pretty good job of it down there in Georgia. So that's really all I know about them. But yeah, that's what the Eastern Indigo stuff is about. And then, I mean, we have Louisiana pines, which is a whole different thing, which are just now federally endangered.
So the Orient Society is only the indigos.
From
correct.
What I understand, I don't know if Howard knows anything more.
No, that's correct.
I believe they also, because gopher tortoises inhabit the same place as the Eastern Indigos, as well as your Eastern Diamondback. So I think they keep an eye on those species just because they're also species of like that should be considered at this point, but they don't directly work with them.
That's another thing. If you want to look up another conservation effort, is speaking of the Eastern Diamondback, is the EDCF, Save the Buzztails .com or .org or whatever it is. Those were another group of people that we got involved with in Ashton at the Ashton Biological Preserve, and last time I was in Florida 2-3 weeks ago.
And that's
I was at the
Miller. I know is a big part of that, and he's big into the Stop Rattlesnake Roundups, which is all the work that he's doing. Great.
Yeah, that was the EDCF event. I went down there to help build the CCCF event, and then I went up 2.5 hours to go to Gainesville and worked at the EDCF event, selling T-shirts for the KCC. I really think I need to get a handle on things.
You sound like you're a man of many trades.
I'm a man of many hats. You know, it's like I said, I've been involved in all these different aspects of the private sector, and now I'm getting ready to, I get involved with all these different organizations of conservation, and it just makes sense.
Now I know US ARC is in place to deal with kind of laws and stuff related to these animals, but do any of these conservation organizations deal with that?
To an extent.
Elaborate.
No. The reason why I say no is because they deal with it more not on a they don't deal with it on a larger scale. It's more of a local scale. When you're looking at legislation, mostly it hits smaller people. The thing with US ARC, and I've been accused of favoring the different entities that I prefer over US ARC. The difference is, to me, and you can decide for yourselves, and your viewers or listeners can decide for themselves. The difference to me is funding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather give to all these smaller, EDCF, CCCF, KCC, then I would like to USARC. USARC speaks volumes for what I do as a keeper and a breeder. Okay, and somebody that's generally interested in the reptile community and in my interests. However, these other entities that I deal with, that I'm working with, they don't have the funding from Zilla or ZooMed or the larger corporations where they're dropping out. You know, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to the Tinley shows, the NARBC shows, where during the auctions, they'll throw out $10,000, $20,000 here and there. These small efforts to make big differences don't get those $10,000 donations.
Right.
So that's why, Melissa, to answer your question, that's why I don't focus myself on those larger institutions, because the larger institutions already have more than enough funding. I want to put it back into some smaller entities here and there that hit home for me, that are close for me.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think after listening to that, I think, you know, maybe switch some things up for the auction for Carpet Fest even, and have you bring some pamphlets and stuff, because all the Carpet Fest, it's always been like, oh, the auctions for, you know, money goes to USARC. And I think it'd be great on our part to do just like you said. We can send a little bit to USARC, but we could also help out the little guy and start donating to the King Cobra Society or whatever. What is it? You know what I'm saying? And
right.
I think that'd be great.
I think it's a hard place to be in as far as a private keeper. You don't feel, there's too many people who don't feel a connection to the wild side and the conservation, because in my mind, that's what really matters, right? That these snakes still exist in the wild. I don't give a fuck if I keep them. But then again, it also depends on me to breed them in captivity and make sure that they're around forever. So it's like a weird, where do I place my money, especially if you have a business and you're making a little bit of money and you're trying to get a tax break. You see all these corporations in our industry, like he said, like Howard said, Zilla and all that, put in their money into USARC. But fuck, I mean, maybe we should be doing something for conservation on the real end, as far as, you know, nature's much more important than us.
That makes me happy. That makes me happy to hear you say that, because that's, you know, that's kind of what it is. You know, I've done all that. I just want that to happen. It's better to have, you know, these little sought out sectors, you know, to be funded privately. And I've done events where, for instance, the Madras Crocodile and Bank and Trust of India, in Madras, also known as Chennai, India, got hit with a cyclone back 2 Decembers ago. And I was due to be down at the CCCF facility to help build that. But instead, we went to the Ashton Biological Preserve, had a fundraiser, had a bunch of people around, and charged, you know, a head count and this, that, and the other, and sent a bunch of money to Ron Whitaker at the Madras, the MCBT.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to donate to you know, larger, you know, it's nice to donate to USARC. Don't get me wrong. I've donated many a times, but it's good to give to these people that don't get those multi-$1,000 fundings.
Mm-hmm. I just wish there was more communication between the two. I mean, I wish there was someone fighting for private rights to keep, say, black pine snakes and keeping inventory on who's breeding black pines, who's breeding Louisiana pines, so that we can take off the restrictions from state to state. We could transport them over so that no one ever has a reason to get them out of the wild. I mean, I think we hinder ourselves with federal protections because in the private sector, we're no longer able to really breed them unless we're keeping them in state. And then it's just kind of wasting the fact that we're trying so hard to produce them. So I wish that people could produce them and let them, you know, go to people who love them and won't ever get them from the wild, and then so conserve in the wild.
That's why you need to get involved in these efforts, is because that way there's no need for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's no need for, you know, trying to reintroduction. You know, that's what conservation is mostly about, is reintroducing animals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you come down here, I was gonna say, when you come down here, make sure you bring a bunch of those pamphlets with you.
Dude, I'm gonna bring pamphlets and shirts, and I wanted to talk to even no, that's before that. I want to talk to the powers that be, because I'm also gonna be bringing some shirts for the CCCF and the KCC to Carpet Fest.
Well, we should definitely do, if you can bring a few shirts. I mean, even.
Well, see, here's the thing: is I don't want to encroach. You know, I want to promote, you know, both of those entities, but I don't want to encroach upon the initial endeavor of the USARC promotion. You know, I don't want to take funds away from USARC.
I don't see why we couldn't do, you put up this shirt, the money goes towards that organization. You put up that shirt, the money goes towards that organization. I don't know if everyone would be down.
I think no, not at all. And I think I think all sides of this aspect need to be out there, not just USARC. It needs to be, everything he's saying about these programs needs to be heard. And I think, you know, what better way than Carpet Fest and start pushing this out there to, like, you know, look, there's other, we love USARC and everything they're doing for us. And they're, like you said, they're a big name and they've got tons of help, and we continuously give them money at the shows, at the Carpet Fest, at everything. But what about the little guy that's out there fighting for these animals that have no voices? We also got to look out for them, because we can't say we love snakes, but we only like this support group. You know what I mean?
Like, we only like them in captivity, where it doesn't matter.
And I mean, I'm a huge fan of king cobras. That was one of my favorite snakes growing up, and that's when he started talking. Rom popped straight into my head, and it was just like, I'm all, as soon as he said it, I was like, yes, like I would donate to that so fast. You know what I mean? Like, yes. So, and I love that.
Tom Crutchfield explained it to where, like, I'm not really a man who cares about higher powers, but he was like, this is a, like, animal of God. Like, you look at a bear in the face, you're like, fuck. And, like, you know, it's one of those animals where you're like, whoa, this is real. You know, this is an important part of who we are and what we have.
And they're a thinking animal. It's not just like some snake that's just, they are intelligent, and they're watching you, they're learning. I love king cobras.
You got to keep them in a bird cage.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. I really do appreciate that. I just, you know, I know your show is focused on, you know, the keepers and, you know, from the, you know, everything, but for me, it just turned into that. And yeah, I gotta talk with everybody and make sure that it's all right if I try to, you know, peddle my my outside of the box
I think
wares.
I think,
you know,
great.
It's something different. And I talk to a lot of, you know, I have a lot of zoo folk friends, and I have a lot of, you know, biologists, zoologists and such friends. And just, if we could just share our knowledge, and it's not so much on the private sector, because the private sector, it's like, look, Howard wants to do this. Howard has the funding to do this. Howard decides to do this. Fuck all. This is what Howard's doing. But in the academic sector, you're really limited to that. But I'd really I got to talk to Eric and Owen and make sure I can, or ask them for permission rather, if I could, try to promote more of the conservation level. And I don't want to take anything away from you, Sark. I just want to give to the entities that I'm involved with.
Yeah. It's so hard at this point. USARK has done, I mean, if you asked me 5-6 years ago, I'd be like, I'm not sure what USARK does, but lately they've been kicking ass, and it's like, it is because of all the money that we have raised, right? So it's like, that's been really, really amazing. And I want to spread, though, that good fortune on other things. It doesn't only have to be within our little bubble. We can go with, outside our little bubble. I'm going to cry.
I see a tear.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to give you a tear. I'm going to tell you I don't know. And I'm glad you guys are kind of, on board, or you have the right frame of thought to think about it differently. That it's like, everybody's, rooting for one thing, but there's so many other things out there. Like,
and
if you guys
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I agree so much. It's not just about our rights as keepers, because without the conservation of these animals, we wouldn't be able to keep anything. You know what I'm saying? Because most of this stuff could just disappear in the wild, and we never even get a chance to keep it. So, I mean, we got to fight for everything that's in the wild, as well as the things that are in captivity. I mean, to me, they just go hand in hand.
Look at it. It does. Well said. Look at the IUCN Red List. Look at what's going on with reptiles. And we like snakes. We're snake people. But man, there's crocodiles. There's everything. Fucking orangutans, tree sloths, name it.
I love a sloth. Dude, I love a sloth.
Who says that?
Dude, a sloth is awesome.
I fucking love a sloth. What?
And I know Mel loves some pandolins. Come on, who doesn't love a pandolin?
Doesn't know what that is.
You don't know what a pandolin is?
It's like an armadillo, but
it rolls up in a ball, and it's got these like armor-plated kind of scales on it.
That sounds exactly like an armadillo.
She doesn't know what a pandolin is?
You'd have to see a picture.
It's the most exploited animal in the world,
other than Howard. Sorry.
Okay, every time I type this into Google, I'm getting not.
She wants to know how to spell pandolin.
Hang, it's.
I spelled it Pang.
No.
Howard, how do you spell it?
Pandolion.
That's a bird?
You gave me a bird here.
It's a bird. Every time I Google, I get different shit. This time I got a bird. The first time I spelled it, I got houses. The second time I spelled it was Japanese little boys. And now the third time is birds. So
you just went back into our history and got the Japanese little boys.
I'm double fisted.
Son of a bitch.
Whoa, that looks like a dinosaur-y creature.
Now she found a pandolin. Yep.
And so we want to conserve these things?
Because they're slow, they're stupid, they're easily eaten and taken advantage of.
That's big as fuck.
No. Yeah, they're like every other American on the planet.
How big are these things?
I think they're about the
not
size-
large.
Yeah.
maybe a little
You
bit
could probably
bigger.
fit it on your forearm if you needed to.
Nope, never touching that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super interesting animal, and there's just too
They're
many.
just weird as fuck.
I mean, at this point, it's just having the habitat, especially.
My that is my whole point about everything is the habitat fragmentation of everything. And like when the storm went through, the hurricane went through Cuba and everything else, and Zapata Swamp, and that was one of those storms. That storm could have wiped out the Ramba fur completely, killed the whole population.
Yeah.
Just from a storm that's natural that happens.
So now what can we do? I mean, we see so many species that are imported fucking daily that we could easily just not be assholes. We could keep them, be patient, and breed them. What can the normal keeper do to, help conservation while having fun in their hobby?
Be selective. That's the best thing I can tell you is be selective. And I hate importing animals. I do not do it. But after, showing you that red-beaked snake, that Rufus, sometimes it's essential. But is it essential to work with a project, or is it essential to make money? And the reason I ask that is because I've had people behind me vending tables that have had deli cups or Chinese food containers full of reptiles, amphibians. And my friend asked me, they're like, well, so how do they take care of those? They don't.
Right.
When importers buy animals, I probably shouldn't say this, but I will. But when importers buy animals, they attribute a loss. All right, so I can make X amount of dollars off of 15 of these. I'll import 25 of these because I know 10 are going to die. Throughout importation or throughout being them at shows and selling them and this, that, and the other. And that's just the market.
And it's like, let me get rid of this as soon as I can because, hey,
It's
money in
gonna
the bank
die.
is much better than a dead snake in the tank. And
yep, it's going to die.
Right.
It's going to die. And then you get people that buy these boomerang animals. And when I say boomerang animals, I mean crocodilians. And I've been to many different shows where I have people coming around before the shows or during the shows with dog crates with morelettes in them, American alligators in them that are at that 3 to 4 foot mark, right where they start to make the change to where that little cute little alligator or that cute little morelette, that's now a formidable animal. Hey, I'll sell it to you cheap. No. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It's
all.
also kind of sad that a lot of these shows, like the people that put the shows together, that they don't police that. Right. And it's like, I mean, they're
not going to.
Yeah, it's like,
they're not going to.
As long as we sell a table, hey, we're good. And it's like, you guys should step up, and that benefits everybody. Certain things. I feel like everybody should be allowed to have what they want within reason, and you have to be responsible. I mean, not everybody's responsible enough to own king cobras.
But you got to have a license to drive a car. You got to do a lot.
Yeah, but not everybody can drive, even with a license. So I mean, I feel like certain people,
But we
maybe like
know
classes,
just
but-
off the bat who's able to keep it. Just knowing people in the hobby, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like we know who can handle a croc, who can handle this, who can handle that, who has the resources. I think we just gotta get wealthy and put on our own show and deny
like,
everyone.
like Howard's saying, it's like a lot of these guys. I mean, even look at the retic market. Like some of these big name people out there, they don't give a shit who that snake goes to.
No.
They'll sell to a 13-year-old kid. Trust me, I know, because I've been that 13-year-old kid and got sold a retic and I didn't know shit. And so, I mean, it's about that dollar. And then you've got certain guys that have retics, and I mean, they're just like, how's your setup look? Oh, you don't have a setup yet? Go get your setup first, then I'll sell you a snake. We can talk. And that's how
exactly. Exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. And so Jason Balin and I are venting this show up, which is a hot show up in Pennsylvania. And here it is, summertime, and we're in shorts and flip-flops and all that jazz. And I'm walking out the door, and Jason grabs me by my shoulder and yanks me back. There's some 14-year-old kid carrying a 10-gallon glass aquarium with probably about a 1.5-year-old Western Diamondback.
What?
Sounds like a Pennsylvania thing.
It was Pennsylvania, yeah.
We're moving.
Yeah.
Don't
Either
say
Texas
those-
or Pennsylvania.
Don't say
Somewhere in
those
between.
things.
No. Yeah. I had a little Westie in there, and he had a screen top on this 10-gallon aquarium with packing tape on it.
Fuck.
And we were walking out the door at the same time, and Jason grabbed me by the shoulders and pulled me back. I'm like, what's going on? What the fuck? And then he pointed, and I was like, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Because you drop that's a whole bunch of messed up stuff. But yeah, there's no oversight. I got yelled at by another vendor because I ruined one of his sales. He wanted to sell somebody a venomous animal, and that person had no clue what was going on. And I talked him out of it. And the guy wanted to kill me. The vendor wanted to kill me. I'm like, dude, I was like, that's a young, that dude's like 20-something.
And it's like a human being's life.
Yeah.
Over a sale.
And you want to sell him a freaking rhino viper for money?
I mean, there's so many different aspects. It's like they can get bit, they could be in the hospital, they could die, and then there's the whole all these other places really want to shut us all down from owning pets anyway, and you just give them a loaded gun. Like I don't.
My main thing with that is issue is it's not going to be that jackass. His brother, his sister, his family member is going to get bit and die. It's not the dummy, it's somebody else. And the real dummy is the person selling the animal.
Yep.
And I had a friend of mine, he is a arachnid guy. He's like, dude, they had a 1.1, black Pakistani spitting cobras available, adults, possible gravid, $300. $300. And he's like, so Howard, you keep hots? I was like, no, man, I like getting bit too much. I don't keep hots. But it's a completely different thing, and it's oversight no matter where you are, whether it's hots and people not dying, or whether it's oversight as far as people recognizing what their abilities are and what they aren't.
Yeah, I think it's just knowing what is what in education. I don't think it's bad having a venomous snake, but certainly.
But these days, everybody's an expert on Facebook.
Right.
But why? Yeah, that's something I'd like to touch on, but we don't have time for that.
No, because they're already past time, boys.
Mom's
The clock
stopping
keeper
us.
over here.
Howard, is there any last thing that you want to get out there before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I do.
About all this fucking Facebook shit. Enter 20-minute rant. Go for it.
All right, first rant. All right, this is going to be my first and last rant, and this is my rant of all the times, is if you go and contact people that have been doing this or have this knowledge and have had boots on the ground for many, many years, please listen to them. We all have a different idea or a different method, but it's all very similar. Please do not waste our time by talking to us and then going to a forum and then end up killing your snakes.
Absolutely.
And real quick, the reason why I say that is because I get people that ask me questions and they're talking to me and they're talking to other people other carp people that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, blah, 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 whatever. And then they find a solution on a different page and their snake dies.
Well, I've had people like they pin you against each other. It's like, well, this guy said this. And I'm like, well, fuck, man. I just do what works for me. Get away. I'm sorry. I'm not a vet. You know, it's tough. I mean, there is no easy answer for everything.
No, there's not, but there's no issue. If you talk to, I mean, all right, carpet breeders, throw the names up in the air.
Oh, are you telling us to throw some names over there?
Yeah.
Eric Burke.
When you think of carpet python breeders,
Exotics, Todd Dyer.
Todd Dyer, yeah, Eric, Todd,
Balin.
keep going,
Mud.
Balin,
Eric Kreider.
yeah.
Stephen Katz. Now we're getting deeper.
Howard Redding.
Oh, thank you. I was waiting for that. Fuck
He's
off.
somewhere way down.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, man, if you picked me to be on your show, are you like saving the best for the last, or are you just scraping the bottom of the barrel?
We were taking
top of the barrel.
That's okay. But no, that's my point, is if you were to ask all of us, even the bottom of the barrel that have been doing this for a long, long time, you're going to get pretty much the same answer.
Yeah, and it's like that.
You know, you talk to Mutton and Rendels and Balin and Redding and Keller and all of us guys that have been around carpets for decades.
And sorry that we didn't say Michael Pinnell, by the way. I should put that out there since we're
sorry. Mike, sorry. Cheers. And yeah, and you go to those people and you talk to all of them, and then you find your resource on a different forum and you kill all your animals. That's what bothers me.
Well, I think you have a unique opportunity to be in a community, which is Morelia, that actually talks to each other, besides maybe two big sects that don't talk to each other. But I mean, Morelia people tend to, have carpet fests, have NPR. You know, it's more of a community feel.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there was like when we started doing Carpet Row at Tinley. That was definitely part of it. Is there's a lot of other people all across, you know, the gecko people, the retic people, the ball python people, everybody. They're like, well, how can you do that? Your competition is right next to you. How does that work out? I was like, it works out perfectly. They're like, why? You got the whole back row of Tinley Park, and it's all carpet python people. Your competition's right there. I was like, it's easy. Hey, Howard, do you have this? No, I don't, but hey, come on down here. Mm-hmm. Hey, Joe, this is my friend Jason. Jason, Joe is looking for this.
And it's so funny you say that, because I seen that firsthand at NARBC, I think last year, and the carpet people are just like, hey man, if I can't get it for, here's my buddy over here, he's got it. I saw the ball python people, I'm not gonna name any names, but they were like arguments because, oh, this dude's selling this for this, and I mean they're just getting mad
and
at
it doesn't
other.
matter quality, it's just the genes that.
And
are
I'm just
in
like, dude, this is why I love carpet people, because everybody's like, let's all get together, drink some beer, hang out, you know.
Dude, and that's exactly why I like that community, is because the same thing. It's like, hey, oh, you're looking for, you know, tigers. Talk to Jason. Jason, this is my friend Joe. Joe, talk to Jason. Jason, sell Joe a fucking tiger.
And no one's gonna be like, I have the best tiger, because everyone kind of knows, like, you're gonna go for Balin. You're gonna go to Balin for tigers, you know. So it's like everyone has their respective lanes, also. And
I'll get cold calls out of the blue, dude. I'll get calls out of the blue. Tuesday night, somebody will call me, say, hey, I was looking for this type of, you know, this look of a jungle, or this look of this, and, you know, Jason told me to call you, or so and so told me to call you, and we kick off. You know, we send people if somebody's looking for something, we put them to what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're not worried about making $1. We all have our own ways to waste our money, but that's what I love about the carpet python community. Is it's like, yeah, I don't have it right now, and I've heard, unfortunately, I've heard people say, well, I don't have it right now, but I'll have it next year.
Mm.
You know,
you cannot talk to me.
Pardon me?
Nothing. It was a rude side comment.
Well, I was just wondering if someone is looking for a jungle, a perfect yellow and black banded jungle that will tickle their fancy, where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, blow up their skirt. That's what you guys
or yeah, something that will blow up their skirt. Where can they get in touch with you?
Where can they get in touch with me?
Yes.
I don't have a website because nobody does that anymore. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Redding Reptile Breeders.
There you go.
Either way,
Redding, obviously on Facebook.
Yeah, Howard Redding on Facebook and Redding Reptile Breeders on Facebook.
Most people will be looking for a
Instagram.
profile picture that's metallic looking, kind of looks like a binder clip. So,
right? No, I'm just some guy just doing my thing, man. It's after a while, it's, you know, I got to be honest with y'all. After a while, it's just, people know where to go and people know who to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are listening, I want to tell you this. I've heard from a lot of people that are very interested and very driven, and please don't stop that drive. Please don't stop that drive. But they want to get known. And I hear that a lot. I want to be known. I want people to know me for what I produce and what I do. And what do you think are the best ways to do that?
Produce good shit consistently. Or have a podcast.
You gotta get your name out there, and it's got to be positive, but you don't have to be. How am I trying to say this? Because I feel like I worked to get my name out there, and you know how many clutches of snakes I've had? One.
Yeah, people know you with that. Yeah,
so many people know who I am, and I've bred snakes once, and it was some mud carpets. That was it. But I worked on, talking to people and hanging out with people, and just, like Carpet Fest.
But that's what keeps it fun too.
Let's do this down here, and then do it.
Yeah,
it's not about YouTube likes and the silly shit. It's about keeping it real and just having a passion and rolling with it and not giving up. Like Howard said, like, just keep doing what you love and people will come to you. You know what I mean? Like, the snakes sell themselves. They really do. Like,
well, for me, it's all about YouTube likes and Instagram likes. So, so that's awkward.
Well, awkward. Well, that's the thing is, and I have people. The reason why I ask that question is because I've heard many different answers, and my best advice to all of them, and I've had breeders ask me this that have been breeding longer than I have, and what you need to do is be here in 5 years. Or be here in 3 years, be here in 5 years, be here in 10 years. Just be here. And they may love you, they may hate you. You might love Howard, you might hate Howard, but you know who the fuck I am.
True story.
It's one of those things. And they're like, well, everybody knows who you are. I was like, well, just be out there and do your thing. And don't worry about anybody else. Just keep going with it.
Mm-hmm.
And everything will be fine. Just give it time. That's all you can do. It is just put your time in. And that goes in many different aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
Many different aspects of life. Just, if you're around, and moons ago it was the 5-year plan, and now it's the 3-year, 2-year plan, where people think they love it and it's fun and it's great and this, that, and the other, and then they're out.
Yeah, I think it's easy to see when those fly-by-nighters come along, and you always see
it. It is.
You're almost like. And sometimes you make your bets, and then you're like, holy shit, that person stuck around. Or you're like, holy shit, that person left. And you're like, oh, fuck.
Well, I'll tell you something. Like, as old timers, I say us, but some of us, yeah, we're like, why in the fuck are we still doing this?
But it's also not an option to not do it anymore.
It's not. No, it's not an option. No, we're stuck. We're totally screwed in all this. We're just, idiots and stuck on it. But it's fun, man, and it's the people.
Right.
That's what it's the people that are involved in it that really make things matter to me.
Absolutely.
And I know many others, and there's, it's a tight group, but even though it is, I'd like to think a tight group, we're always welcome to teach people or people to ask. I met Jason Balin for a few moments, and then I said, "Hey, man, I'll talk to you later." And he was, I gotta say, Jason Balin is definitely one of my. He was my mentor.
I mean, that shows how important it is to get in touch with people within your area. Speaking of which, Evan Browder, tell us where we can reach you and where to buy your fruit flies.
Oh, this motherfucker, man. You can find me on Instagram, Carpet Cartel, Facebook, Andrew Evan Browder, and Carpet Cartel. And that's about it. And if you know me locally, you have my phone number.
Maybe.
And I don't breed fucking fruit flies.
Fruit flies.
Yeah, because I keep I've been building vivariums and I keep dart frogs.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where Joe came up with that about being the fruit fly breeder.
Well, it was something like we were talking on the podcast. It's like, you have anything going? And you were breeding fruit flies.
Yeah, I was like, I think I just said like an off the cuff, oh, fruit flies, that's all I could breed. And then it just stuck.
There you go. Now people know you. See, this is a whole getting your name out thing.
But I got rats too now. So
that is true. Rats. Holy fuck yeah, we're going a little too long-winded, aren't we? Here we go.
Yes, I have to take this over to cut this off. Howard, thank you so much for being on. I have to say, without a doubt, this is the most I've laughed in our podcast. Like 100% hands down, that goes to you. I haven't laughed this hard in a podcast yet.
Thank you. I'm glad to add some levity to your evening.
I think it was due to the binder.
Yeah, it's mostly the binder.
Hey.
Okay. Wait. Everyone else can see you. Wait. Yes, there we go. Now everyone can see him. Yay. Oh, and I also like that you're wearing a beer shirt because, we're all about snakes and beer.
Yeah. This is Raleigh Brewing. It's a nice little brew pub in Raleigh, North Carolina. Yes, cool. Yes. Fun place, kind of like with a spoke and everything else. It's bicycle related. They have really tasty brews. I encourage going there. I enjoyed myself.
Awesome. We like that. Did you drink any beer during this podcast?
Yes, of course I did. I was drinking.
He was drinking while he's showing us the binder.
Troeg's Perpetual.
Never heard of that. Is that a Northeast thing?
It is. They're at a... Wherever the fuck they are, they're out of Damn Tasty. That's where they're out of. Troeg's. I think they're out of Pennsylvania. I hate to say that because that hurts me.
Do you have something against Pennsylvania?
Oh, I have so many things against Pennsylvania.
Oh, great. This is awesome. Did you know we're moving there in 3 months?
Oh, right on. You guys are moving here in Oh, man. You guys are idiots. I love you, but you're idiots.
Yeah, July 1st.
No,
we're
Not
moving.
bringing Evan.
I was like, I told him to stay here. They want to move. I was like, fuck
we're
that.
moving to the north. This
Yeah.
They're gonna
regret
Louisiana
that
girl's
real
gonna be
quick.
a northerner. It's gonna be very scary.
That's right. I'll teach you how to show them how to source crawfish.
I actually did read all those messages. I mean, it's a shame that you had to find it, but also no one asked me, the girl from the state won over, for any help. So, I'm from there, but no one asked me.
I didn't even, honestly,
no
I didn't
one
even
asked
think about
me.
it.
Trust people from Louisiana to read.
We're literally getting
Wait.
crawfish from there, so shut the fuck up.
I mean, my thing is because I've seen Howard do this like over and over, and that was the only other person I could think to talk to about crawfish because I've seen it over and over. I forget that you're from there. So Howard's got crabs. What? No.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I've seen it over and over. He's always got these boils going, and there's Mingo with his face down in the crabs.
And he's getting it from Kinnerbra, which no one out of Louisiana will understand why I just said that.
That's not German.
No, if you say Kinnerbra, it's weird. It's weird, but it's funny you're getting it from Kinner. Have you ever actually been to Kinner?
Myself, yeah.
What? Why?
Because it's right next to the airport.
That's very true. The airport is technically in Kinner. You're right.
Louis right there. Come on now.
Good old MSY. Okay.
Yep.
You're from Louisiana. You just got schooled.
But I'm saying, I thought he meant like he's been there outside of the airport. I know the airport's in Kinner.
And hey, if you're going to Louis, you know, before you go through security, eat at the restaurants before you go into security, because there ain't shit once you get in the gates.
Oh, the airport's the worst thing ever.
Oh man,
great. But the best thing about Louis Armstrong Airport is when you step off your plane in Concourse C, I want to say, there's this huge sign. You know how like airports try to make you like,
wasn't she just rushing?
Shut up. You know how airports try to like make you like the city you're going to, and they're like best in whatever. Yeah, New Orleans, when it says it's like best in like like liver transplants, and it's like also that's what we're so good at, liver transplants, because everyone becomes alcoholics, fucks up their liver. That's what we're number one in, liver transplant.
Hey, have those kids ever been? All right, look, you land at Louis, and at your baggage, you go to pick up your luggage, and down there, while you're waiting for your luggage, there's a liquor store down there.
Duh. I'm sorry. You're in New Orleans, of course.
Have those kids, I know you've seen it. Have those kids seen it?
No.
I've only seen Bourbon Street.
I mean, there's liquor stores everywhere. That's, you know, we all started drinking at 13, and we know how to buy our liquor and drive in the car with it. The rest of the states in the country can't handle it, but we can.
I stick to civilized parts of the U.S.
Oh, shit. No, don't worry. Hey, Melissa, you and I are going to go party sometime. We're going to leave these losers. We're going to go down to Louisiana, hang out with my family, go to Slidell, go to get some daiquiri and malts and creams, and we'll be all right.
Definitely. I told him the other day how much I miss a daiquiri. You can't even get that one state over in Texas.
You want it in your car to go.
I want it in my car and then in my house. Yes.
Drive through daiquiri, and it ain't open container unless the straw paper is off the top. If the straw's not in it,
it's not illegal.
Yep.
They give you the straw in the paper because they are not breaking any law. If you open it in your car, that's on you. That's not on the business, because they gave it to you in paper. So.
And Mel, you get on I-10 before you crack that off, right?
Oh, duh.
See? Damn, so here's the thing is, I'm going to come down there, and I'm going to teach them how to boil crawfish, and I'm
eternity from what
I believe that. And then we're going to have to teach them how to buy daiquiris, huh?
I know. They don't know. They think it's so weird to like want a daiquiri at your house, but that's normal to me. But I'm sorry. I took this mic to end this conversation, and I continued it. I didn't know he knew about the great old state of Louisiana. So we'll have to talk about that more later. But Howard, again, thank you so much for being on. This was such a great podcast. And thank you, everyone who listened. If you want to find us, obviously, we're at Port City Pythons on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you for the continued support, and we will see you next week.
Later, Gators.
Bye, guys.
Hook 'em horns.
What?
Get the fuck out of here, Evan.